Breaking news in the NFL, our Jonathan Jones reporting the 49ers have given Jimmy Garoppolo's agents permission to seek a trade. JJ also reporting that some teams have reached out to the 49ers but aren't going to make a move on a deal until Garoppolo's injured throwing shoulder is 100%. He's expected to be cleared sometime in August, according to reports. Jimmy G, the odd man out now in San Francisco after they went young, got Trey Lance, the expected starter. He did lead San Francisco, though, to the NFC Championship game last year. Good completion percentage and middle of the pack in yards per game and his touchdown to interception ratio. All right, let's get Jonathan Jones in here. JJ, I guess my question is, haven't the 49ers been looking to trade him all along? What's changing here?
Yeah, you're right. And the fact that they are now giving that permission to his agents, really, the fact is no team was really trading for him at any point. And so this is a bit of a formality. Remember, he had that offseason surgery on his throwing shoulder, and so no team was going to go out there when it was very much an unknown if you were going to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo. And so now as we get closer to training camp, as teams may actually truly be interested in him, now that permission is granted. And so a bit of a formality here because the entire NFL has known really since going back into last season, and certainly after the season, that Jimmy Garoppolo is on the trading block, that the 49ers are moving ahead with Trey Lance, whom they drafted at the top of the draft 2 years ago. So it's not a surprise necessarily that he has been granted permission to seek a trade, but it's really important to know that this is not going to happen tomorrow, and it's probably not going to happen this week, and it's probably not going to happen next week. This is going to take some time, Chris.
50 days exactly to the start of the NFL season. Who are some teams who could be interested in a healthy Jimmy Garoppolo?
Okay, so right now what you have is really two teams. You have the Seattle Seahawks, who are looking like they're going into training camp with Geno Smith and Drew Lock battling it out at the quarterback position. And so the Seattle Seahawks have a number of issues if they want to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo. Number one, do you want to trade with a division rival? Does your division rival want to trade with you? Do you trust your division rival to trade you a quarterback who has an injured and healing throwing shoulder? Can you take on his contract? So, and then also, do you actually believe in Geno and or Drew Lock? You have to see them at training camp first before you actually probably make that determination. So you're going to stand pat. The other team is the Cleveland Browns. And right now the Cleveland Browns are trying to figure out, obviously they're waiting and seeing, just like the rest of us, how long, if at all, Deshaun Watson is going to be suspended. If Deshaun Watson is suspended, like the NFL is seeking out, an indefinite suspension of at least a year, well, the Cleveland Browns are certainly going to be in the market for a veteran quarterback, whether it is to back up Jacoby Brissett or whether it is to push Jacoby Brissett in training camp or shortly after training camp for that starting job. If it is a shorter suspension for Deshaun Watson, the Browns are very likely out of the running for someone like Jimmy Garoppolo. And again, we've talked about the salary. That's nearly $25 million in non-guaranteed money. So what does that mean? Any team that is hoping to acquire Jimmy Garoppolo, they probably want to work out some sort of contract extension with him because that is a big, big number to have to eat at this point in the league year. The other option here, and having talked with a couple of teams, texting with some folks around the league here the last couple of minutes, I think right now what a number of teams are going to do is wait because they want to see Jimmy Garoppolo get healthy. They want to see him out there at 49ers practice, and that when he can pass a physical, and if no one has traded for Jimmy Garoppolo, the 49ers have a very, very big decision to make where the Niners may have to actually cut Jimmy Garoppolo. Once he gets healthy, because it's a non-guaranteed salary, they get that cap space, more than $20 million, back on the books, and they can distribute it to some guys like, I don't know, Deebo Samuel or Nick Bosa. So those are the options right now for the 49ers and the rest of the NFL.
So as just fans who have seen Trey Lance out there, we haven't seen a ton of him. I don't think many of us are sold on him, but is the team at this point internally, are they sold on Trey Lance being able to lead this team like Jimmy G was able to do last season?
I don't know that there is an overwhelming amount of confidence within that building that Trey Lance can lead this team to the NFC title game, right? However, I think that there has been, I've heard emanating from that building a lot more optimism about Trey Lance than last year. And listen, he was a rookie last year. He wasn't working with any of the ones. He wasn't getting many opportunities. He had a lot to learn. Also, he was put into some difficult situations there last season. He had the foot injury, I believe, last year. And so I'm certainly willing to give the young guy a chance here in his second season. So there is more optimism for Trey Lance. But again, this was always going to happen. They were always going to turn over the keys to the franchise to Trey Lance. I know a lot of people didn't believe that it was going to happen, but it obviously has. So it's going to be fascinating, Chris. I'm going to be out there in about a week from now to see Trey Lance working with George Kittle, maybe working with Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk at their training camp. I'm excited to hear from some of those players on what he looks like here in his second camp, but obviously they're hoping that he takes another leap forward like he has so far this offseason.
Training camp begins on Tuesday. I'm sure you're looking forward to getting out there. What is the latest on Deebo Samuel, who still is looking for that big contract?
Yeah, still looking for that big contract, and all is still fairly quiet there, which in my estimation is a good thing for the Niners and Deebo. Obviously the 49ers want to pay Deebo. They want to keep him there, and they have a much better opportunity to win their division and get to the places that they want to go with Deebo Samuel there. So, and also the Niners I believe, want to pay Deebo Samuel before Nick Bosa. And so there's a lot of want to on the side of the 49ers. Deebo Samuel, other than letting be known his trade request to ESPN a couple of months ago, has really kind of stayed quiet. There were a few Instagram captions, maybe. There was a video of him seen at a club where he's kind of shaking his head as folks are saying, stick around in San Francisco, Deebo. But everything since then has been quiet. And what I've been told is that's good news for the Niners and ultimately Deebo. So I know that teams, obviously around the draft, like the New York Jets, were poking around on Deebo Samuel. There was nothing ever close with that, at least on the side of the 49ers. And as it stands right now, I think that when we get to week one, it's going to be Deebo Samuel in a 49ers outfit.
All right, well, the news today, Jonathan Jones reporting that Jimmy Garoppolo's camp has been given permission to seek a trade, but it's likely a trade that won't happen for the next several, potentially weeks, and that the Seahawks and the Browns are likely right now the two teams who could be in contention for Jimmy Garoppolo. JJ with us here on HQ. You could also hear from Ryan Wilson on the latest Pick Six podcast. The 5 teams he thinks are going to take a step back in 2022. That list includes the Cowboys and the Buccaneers.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.